Hi, I'm Gary. This is a humongous box from Accucraft, and you're watching an unboxing video. What we're unboxing is Accucraft's latest narrow gauge 45 millimeter gauge 1 engine called the Elkton from the Florence and Cripple Creek. It's Florence and Cripple Creek No. 3. And the box weighs 65 pounds. And at this point, I'm probably going to go to a B-roll and show you some backstory of what makes this an interesting locomotive. This loco is actually a backdated version of another of Accucraft's engines, the Denver and Rio Grande Western C-18, a narrow gauge consolidation which Accucraft began producing in 2022. Accucraft offers the engine as it's appeared since the 1920s, as number 315, which is still alive and well pulling excursion trains on the Cumbres and Toltec, Durango and Silverton, and the Colorado Railroad Museum, or as number 318, which is on display at the museum. This project started when Bing Cheng of Accucraft asked Jason Kovac of the train department and David Fletcher, foremost Baldwin historian and model designer, for ideas of other engines that might be built using the basic C-18 design. History offered a suggestion. The C-18s had an earlier life on the Florence and Cripple Creek, a 40-mile narrow-gauge short line that served gold mining camps in the high mountains of Colorado from 1893 until floods, fires, and not enough gold finally forced closure in 1915. That's when 6 of them were sold to the Rio Grande, and the Elkton became the 315. And Fletcher realized also that the East Tennessee and Western North Carolina Railroad, the Tweetsee, had ordered consolidations from the same Baldwin drawing number, with only cosmetic differences. In fact, he had already done architectural drawings of both of those for the Narrow Gauge and Short Line Gazette. Fletch had based his drawings on the original Baldwin erection cards, and when he compared his measurements with those of Accucraft's C-18, it looked like they had done the same. Backdated versions of the C-18 were possible. Unlatching, and here we go. So this is interesting. I wondered about this. This engine comes ready to run, so far as I know. But nevertheless, because it is an Accucraft Aster product, we have assembly instructions for what they call the C-18 No. 3, meaning the Florence and Cripple Creek No. 3, the Elkton. And they should pretty much be the same instructions. And even if you're not putting this thing together, it gives you, let's see if I can show you a nice photo of how they managed to put stuff together. Okay, so this is how you can tell where all the pieces should be. Okay, put that aside. One more layer of sponge. And here we go. Here's the pay dirt. We've got an engine wrapped up like a mummy and a tender wrapped up like a mummy, all boxed up in rubber, different sides. Okay, so this one comes out. These guys come out. Okay, here's some of the small stuff that I expected to see. Syringes, syringes, little angles there you probably won't need. And okay, these are some detail parts. These are the brass fittings that go onto the cosmetic steam dome, and they got a little drawing that shows you where the brass fittings go. The wire, I'm supposing, is for a cosmetic bell ringer, and a little brass handle that I imagine handles the axle pump. Okay, so there's those. Okay, here we go. And they're either strapped on, I hope they're not bolted on, they might be, onto wooden track carriers. We need a little more room. Ha, they're even slotted so that the pieces go together in a certain way for carrying around. They have really packed this well. A tender. It is strapped down. Okay, I can see it says Florence and Cripple Creek. Here's the boiler certificate. Now, the people in Great Britain, boiler test certificate. This is serial number 8600, has been tested at 600 psi. Now, in Great Britain, they spend a lot more attention to those things. They pay more attention. We don't pay a whole lot of attention to them here in the United States because we don't have to renew them. More sponge. And here is the Elkton. Fuel, and it appears that this is going to be like the C-18, and that one of these lines is going to be for the axle pump, and the other one of these lines is going to, well, wait a minute, they have to be for, oh, this is interesting. I do not see any way in the world to get this off. Okay, the top of this tender is screwed in with some very tiny machine screws, so you could, take the top off, but you can see the jack and the water pump return fairly easily. I wonder if this opens. No, it does not. Okay. Let's see if we can see anything here on the bottom. So I'm guessing that this is the water pump and return, and this must be the fuel line. We will find that out later. Other than that, there's not too much else to show. Okay. Here is the big stuff. Oh, it's pretty, folks. I'm here to tell you, this is a pretty engine. Okay, folks, this is what we have here. We've got a smoke gray smoke box, shiny gray boiler, brass bands, number 3, lining. I don't know if you can see the wheels like I can see the wheels, but we have lining on the wheels. We have lining on the cylinders. The drive shafts are actually a dark metal. They're not a shiny metal. It's a Stephenson's valve gear, which is appropriate, of course, for what this engine is. Okay, it's a hinged, it's very similar to the original C-18. So here's the engine. Dark, flat gray smoke box, which should open up, I hope and think. Let's see here. That's interesting. It's not. So I wonder what the lighting procedure is. It's a one-piece smoke box. I suppose we could light through the stack because it is butane. Is that correct? Yeah. That smoke box is on solid. But we've got a standard jet. I don't know what camera would be best to show this to. I'll do this in. We've got a standard jet, throttle, sight glass is in the corner. Now, the cab, like the original, is semi-closed in the back. So viewing the sight glass is going to be slightly problematic. So here is a shot down into the cab. And as you can see, there's the sight glass down there on the left. And that's a closed jet system. The little skinny brass line you see coming out of the bottom is the gas line. Okay, and it goes up to the throttle, which is up there next to the gauge. And here, that skinny brass pipe next to the tender's water jack is the return line from the axle pump bypass. That's the. So what we have is a closed jet system here. I'm going to rock this over a little bit. Where does that go? This jet. Okay. This is your gas line. One of these is going to be the water return. Here's your bypass valve for the water. Comes off to the right side of the cab. Okay, it's got a dead leg lubricator. There's no lubricator in the cab. So this is going to be like the C-16 and the C-18 with a dead leg lubricator in there. Okay, we put our brass details on here, set up the ring. It's a very large boiler. I'm curious as to how much water this thing will actually take. And I guess that we're going to learn that you light it off through the smokestack. I can't see any other way to light it off. So it will light it off like a roundhouse engine. Here it is. I got the jack handle in for the jack. If you wanted to do more work in there, you'll need to get those little tiny machine screws out. It's a dark brown cover matching the lid of the cab. You can see the trim. You can see the white trim on the wheels. And you'll notice that the the drive shafts are a dark metal, which surprises me. We also have lining on the cylinders and on the cylinder casings. Okay, headlamp. And let's see if we can slowly turn this around. This little hallmark plaque on the bottom of the engine's frame confirms that this is number 6 of a limited edition of 25 Florence and Cripple Creek Elktons. Presumably the same is true of the Tweetsie versions, so if you are interested in either of these engines, get your order in now. Bing believes the market will support this project. If these limited editions do well, we might see more locos from the 1880s to the 90s, including more East Tennessee and Western North Carolina Tweetsie engines. Accucraft will also make coal-burning versions of the Elkton, the Tweetsie, and the C-18 on demand. This is my first YouTube video. Next one will show the preparation and the first run of this loco, with more to come. So if you're interested, hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next one.